Today, we explore how this date completely reshaped our world across five powerful dimensions: culture, education, finance, politics, and technology. This day proves that history never rests. Let's dive into the fascinating interconnected events of this date that continue to influence how we live, think, and innovate today. So, without much further ado, let's go.
Usually when we look at a calendar, a day is just a box, like a container for a dentist appointment or a grocery run.
Yeah, just a rigid square, 24 hours just neatly fenced in.
Right. But then you start digging into the history of exactly one specific date, and suddenly that little box just explodes. Welcome to the deep dive.
And we've got quite the timeline today.
We really do. Whether you're Alex tuning in from Germany or Gia, Tara, and Sarah in Canada, or, the whole family listening over in India, grab your calendars. Because today we're looking at a bizarre historical anomaly, the sheer density of June 16th.
It's just a fascinating study in coincidence, really.
Exactly. Our mission is to explore how this random 24-hour slice happens to be a pivot point for politics, science, finance, and culture.
And I think to really grasp it, we should probably start with how lines get drawn.
Good point. So we rewind to June 16th, 1858. Abraham Lincoln gives his House divided speech.
Right, staking a major moral claim against a divided, oppressive system.
But, while that's a famous milestone in the U.S., look at the exact same day in 1976, the Soweto Uprising in South Africa.
Oh, wow, yeah. Up to 20,000 black students marched because they were being forced to receive their education in Afrikaans.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. Forcing a student to learn in the language of their oppressor isn't just an inconvenience. It's like forcing a carpenter to build a house with a bent hammer.
That's a great way to put it.
It deliberately cripples their ability to learn and build a future.
That is the mechanism perfectly described, because controlling the language of education dictates not just what you learn, but your fundamental ability to express dissent.
Right, and the students understood that.
They did, and challenging it cost over 176 lives. It's an event immortalized now as the Day of the African Child.
Which sparked the massive shift that eventually dismantled apartheid.
Exactly. It's why Thabo Mbeki's presidential inauguration decades later.
On June 16th, of course.
Right. It feels incredibly full circle.
It's wild how history stacks up like that. Because while 1976 was about fighting for ground-level human rights, if you look at the exact same day a decade earlier, humanity was breaking entirely different boundaries overhead.
Oh, you're talking about Valentina Tereshkova?
Yeah.
June 16th, 1963. She became the first woman in space aboard Vostok 6. But what's wild isn't just that she went up, it's that she almost didn't come down.
Wait, really? What happened?
Well, there was a critical software error mid-flight. The ship was actually programmed to ascend instead of descend.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Tereshkova realized the math was backwards, and she had to manually impin a new descent program while in orbit, just so she wouldn't float off into space forever.
That is terrifying. Just doing orbital math on the fly.
Yeah.
And speaking of space, Sunita Williams set a massive space endurance record on June 16th, 2007.
Another huge, amazing milestone.
Yeah. But speaking of rewriting the code, we also have to talk about Barbara McClintock, born June 16th, 1902.
Right, the geneticist. She fundamentally changed genetics by discovering jumping genes in maize.
Because before her, scientists thought genes were fixed in place, like beads on a string.
Exactly.
And here's where it gets really interesting to me. If DNA is supposed to be the strict blueprint of life, McClintock realizing genes can move around is like finding out the chapters in a biology textbook can physically detach themselves.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, like they swap places and rewrite the entire story. It completely shatters static assumptions.
It forces us to view the natural world as dynamic rather than static. She basically showed us that the code is actively editing itself.
So we have these massive leaps in science and human rights, but I'm looking at the rest of the timeline here. Ford incorporated in 1903, IBM founded in 1911, the FDIC created in 1933.
Yeah, some real heavy hitters.
Right. Did these corporate titans pick June 16th for some astrological reason, or is this just pure statistical luck?
Honestly, it's pure statistical luck, but it's a coincidence that highlights the incredible burst of infrastructure building in the early 20th century. Those are the economic engines that scaled up modern society.
Which brings me to the strangest part of this whole list. How does a single day hold the birth of IBM, orbital math, and, well, a fictional guy in Dublin eating a gorgonzola sandwich?
Bloomsday.
Yes.
June 16th, 1904. That's the exact date James Joyce's Ulysses takes place. But Joyce didn't just pick it randomly, you know. He chose that date to capture a totally ordinary day in extraordinary granular detail.
And culturally, that desire to reflect on life's depth
Yeah,
echoes elsewhere on this day, too.
absolutely. In India, June 16th marks the solemn Guru Arjan Dev Martyrdom Day.
Right.
And it's also the birthday of massive cinema legends like Mithun Chakraborty and Imtiaz Ali.
So what does this all mean? We've got tragedy, revolution, genetics, spaceflight, and art all crammed into one square on the calendar.
I think it just shows us the density of human experience. You know, we tend to view history as this slow, plodding timeline, but really any given Tuesday can be the birthplace of a revolution or an enduring cultural touchstone.
Which brings us back to you, looking at that little square on your own calendar.
Yeah.
If a single calendar date can hold the Soweto uprising, the first woman in orbit manually saving her own life, and the birth of the mass-market car, what unseen historical pivot is happening today, right under your nose, that will define the next century for you.
Hi viewers, family and friends. How did you like the content of this video? Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Please write in the comments your name and the place you are watching from. Since our viewing family is spread all over the world, it will be nice to know which city and the country you are watching from, so I can say hello to you. Science and technology. Reading and listening to the historical accomplishments on this date of those who have gone before us, I, as a professional engineer with interest in structural engineering, energy-efficient buildings, ICF construction, and as Google Docs expert with interest in spreadsheet-based solutions, draw inspiration to ask of myself the million-dollar question. What would I accomplish today? Think about the Japanese practice of Kaizen. Let me know in the comments. What would you accomplish today? Your subscribing to the channel inspires me to post more such videos. Thanks for your patronage. See you in the next video. Sincerely, Yogi Anand.